Hello everyone. أهلا بيكم في تعلم الإنجليزية. Learn English. Today we're going to speak about fun. So our topic today is connected to entertainment and fun. So today we're talking about films and movies. خلينا نبص مع بعض بالتفصيل what we're going to learn today. So the first thing that we're going to learn today is vocabulary. And for vocabulary, we're going to speak about types of books and films. And we're going to look at film rating. And we're going to explain the meaning of film rating. And we're going to look at grammar as well. And for grammar, we're going to look at was versus did. When I use was and when I use did. And for the skills, today we're going to learn about writing skill. So for writing today, we're going to see how we can write a film review. So we can write a review about a film that we have watched before. So let's start. And to start with, we're going to start with the idioms as usual. النهارده هنبدأ بالidioms واللي معانا جداد أو لسه مش فاكرين. Idioms are expressions that we use just to sound more like native and to sound more natural. So they are expressions that are not literally connected to the meaning of the word. هي expression الكلمات بتاعتها مش مرتبطة بالمعنى الحرفي للكلمات. So تعبيرات بنستخدمها just to sound natural and more like natives. So let's start with our first idiom, which is connected to the film business and the movie making business. So let's look at our first idiom. So the first idiom that we have today is called a popcorn movie. A popcorn movie. And the popcorn movie is a type of movie that you watch just for fun and purely for entertainment. And it usually doesn't carry an important message. So a film just to laugh at or to enjoy yourself without looking at the message for it. الأفلام اللي ما تبقاش تحمل رسالة عميقة أو فيها رسالة مهمة وبس بنتفرج عليها عشان نتبسط is called a popcorn movie. So popcorn movie are usually thought of as something negative, but sometimes people can use it just to express the light kind of movies that are not very deep. So I can say, I like popcorn movies. I don't like to think a lot about the message of the film. Or I enjoy popcorn movies because they make me laugh. Or today I'm so bored. Let's just watch a popcorn movie. So we can use it in different contexts. ممكن نستخدمها في سياقات مختلفة. So I can say, why don't we go out and have fun and watch a popcorn movie? Like a light movie that doesn't need lots of thinking or that doesn't carry a very important message. So this is the first idiom that we have, which is connected to movies. Let's look at our second idiom. The second idiom that we have is called the show must go on. The show must go on. The meaning of this, you must continue your plan regardless what happens or regardless the problems. الإكسبريشن ده الشو اللي هو زي ما يكون مسرحية أو فيلم must goes on, which means whatever we have planned, we will do it. So for example, today I am sick and I can't go to work, but I have to go because the show must go on, which means I must continue the plan regardless if I am sick or if I can't. Or, so if you have problems in your life, don't think about them. The show must go on, which means you have to continue with your plans regardless. Or, I am so sick, but tomorrow I have an exam. So, the show must go on, which means I have to study and I have to continue. I can't stop now. So this is the second idiom that is connected to movies and shows and stuff. So the first one is called a popcorn movie, and the second one is the show must go on. Let's look at the third one. So the third one is called in the limelight. So in the limelight means in the center of attention. اللايملايت ده على المسرح اللي هو الضوء القوي اللي بيتسلط على المسرح. So we call it or we use this expression when somebody likes to be in the center of attention. So I can say, my sister likes to be in the limelight, which means my sister likes to be the center of attention, or likes people to look at her or to speak to her. Or, I am a very shy person. I don't like to be in the limelight, which means I don't like to be under the spotlight, or I don't like people to notice me much. I don't like to be in the center of attention. So we call it in the limelight. So you can say that stars are always in the limelight, which means are always the center of attention. Wherever they go, people concentrate with them and people want to talk with them. So it's called in the limelight, in the center of attention, or people concentrate with them. The next idiom that we have is to steal the show. To steal the show. So to steal the show is basically to win the greatest praise or to be better than everybody else. So we can say during our presentation, our manager stole the show, which means he gave an excellent presentation and all the focus was in him, or all people praised him, or he was wonderful. Or I'm going to study very hard because I want to steal the show, which means I want to gain the praise of people, or I want to gain their attention. So to steal the show means to gain praise, or people can say that you have done a great work. So in this case, we can say steal the show. بكده يبقى we have talked about 4 different idioms. The first one is, yes, a popcorn movie, which means a light movie that doesn't carry a heavy message. And the second one, in the limelight, which is in the center of attention. The third one is, yes, to steal the show. And the last one, the show must go on, which means life has to continue. You can't stop. You need to go with your plan. بكده نبقى اتكلمنا على أهم الإيديومز المرتبطة بشوز and films and movies. وخلينا نبدأ ونتكلم على film and movies. So the first thing that comes to mind, احنا ليه بنقول films or movies? So is it a film or is it a movie? So films and movies are the same. So they are 2 same words. There is no difference between them. The only difference is that American and British. So Americans always say movies and British always say films. But both words have the same exact meaning. طيب تعالوا مع بعض نشوف the different types of films that we can look at or we can watch. يلا بينا نشوفهم. Speaking about films, we can speak about types of films. So for types of films, we have different types of films. الtypes of films دي بتتحدد على أساس الستوري بتاعت الفيلم. So every different story can have a different type. So let's look at types of films. So first of all, we have something called adventure films. Adventure. Adventure is أفلام المغامرات. So where you can travel and you can go around the planet, or you can go to the sea, or you can have any kind of adventure to find a jewel or to find something important. All these are called adventure films. So the second type is action. Action is usually about fighting and hitting each other. So these are called action films. And we also have cartoon or animation. So cartoon is the old style before using computers a lot, and animation is the new style. يبقى احنا لو بنتفرج على Tom and Jerry, the old one is called cartoon, and if we're talking about Dory, or if we're talking about any new film, it's called animation. So we also have fantasy دي اللي هي كل القصص الخيالية بكل أشكالها. So we're talking about Cinderella, the prince and the princesses. So all these types of stories are called fantasy. Fantasy is based on pure imagination, things that are not real. So if we're talking about Harry Potter and magic, all these things are fantasy. So fantasy films, imagination, things that are completely imaginary and they are not real at all. And we have something which is a bit similar, which called science fiction. Science fiction. الفانتسي أحيانا بنقول عليه fiction اللي هو imaginary. And then we have science fiction. So science fiction is again imaginary. So things that are based on imagination. حاجات خيالية. But this imagination is based on science. So we have pure imagination, fantasy, or fiction. And we have imagination that is based on science. This is what we call it science fiction. So science fiction أنا عندي part من science, and on this part of science I build a whole story, a whole imaginary story. So it's called science fiction. Like for example, when we speak about other planets, لما نتكلم على الكواكب التانية والناس اللي عايشين على الكواكب التانية. So science as a fact, we have planets. So الكواكب اللي حوالينا دي real fact. I take this real fact and I build imaginary story about people who live there. So this is called science fiction, a mix between science and imagination. Science fiction. Sometimes they call it sci-fi or science fiction. We also have biography. Biography is the film that tells the story of someone's life. So, for example, if we speak about Naguib Mahfouz and we make a film about his life, this is called biography. So biography is mainly speaking about the facts or the real events that happened in someone's life. But in this case, we have actors and actresses who do this story or who act this story. So in this case, it's called biography. Biography. And we also have documentary. Documentary is a film that doesn't have actors or actresses. It's about facts, it's about real world, and we don't have actors or actresses. اللي هي الأفلام الوثائقية اللي بتوثق حاجة حصلت فعليا ما فيهاش ممثلين أو ممثلات بس بيبقى فيلم على الحقائق. So it's called documentary. Documentary. We also have comedy. Comedy is a funny film that makes us laugh. So we call it a comedy. And we also have romantic or love story. So I can say I like romantic films or I like to watch love stories. Both are the same. واللي هي الأفلام الرومانسية. And we have romantic comedy. Romantic comedy. So a romantic film is all about love and feelings. A romantic comedy is a mix between laughing, between a funny film, and at the same time we have a romantic line. So it's called romantic comedy. We also have horror films. Horror films اللي هي الأفلام المرعبة أو أفلام الرعب. We call them horror. Horror. And we have thriller. Thriller اللي هي الأفلام بتاعة الإثارة, which means you're doing something against the clock. لما يبقى في قنبلة هتنفجر and we're running quickly, we're trying to stop it. So this is all called thriller. So thriller, or sometimes people call it suspense. Both are fine, but the usual term that is used is called thriller. Thriller. And we also have musical. Musical. So the musical is a film in which the main events or most of the film is based on songs and on dancing. So the actors sing and dance a lot. So if we have lots of singing and dancing, it's called musical. So if we have one song, it's a normal film. But if the whole film consists of songs and dancing, so in this case it's called musical, like La La Land. And we also have Western. Western is the type of films that mainly focus on the cowboys and the American West. So fighting with guns. These are called Western. الأفلام بتاعت الكاوبويز والغرب الأمريكي. So they are all called Western movies. Western movies. We also have drama. Drama is a film about social life. So it's not connected to tragedy and crying. مش لازم يبقى مرتبط بالعياط والtragedies الدراما عموما عن السوشيال لايف. So it can depict or can speak about a family life, the everyday life that we can have. All these are called drama. So drama is mainly daily life of people, so it follows what happens in their everyday. It's called drama. So drama is not connected to crying, it's connected to daily life. And we also have war films. War films are the films that are talking about war events. So if we're talking about World War I or World War II or any kind of events that happened, real or not, during the war. يعني الوار films مش لازم تبقى أحداث حقيقية، بس بتدور حوالين what happened in a war. So it's called a war film. And we have historical or epic films. So historical or epic films that are speaking about the great history. So usually it speaks about real things that happened in the very old past, and they are great things. Like when we speak about the great leaders that were there in the past, and when we create their stories, it's called historical or epic. بكده نكون اتكلمنا على أهم أنواع الأفلام and the most important types of movies that we can watch. Let's practice and let's see if we can recognize the types of movies. We have talked about the most important types of movies and the most important topics that a movie can cover. خلينا نوضح حاجة. دايما ال types of movies ممكن to loop, so we can have more than one type for the movie. So for example, we can have romantic historical movie. So a romantic movie which is about history. So ال types of movies ممكن تmerge مع بعضها وممكن يبقى فيلم واحد في أكتر من type. So let's now try to guess the type of movies. Okay, so we're going to guess by looking at the poster and looking at the statements written. So let's look at the poster first and we can guess the type of movie. So what do you think the type of movie is? So this type, what do you think it is? من البوستر كده it's something, yes, it's not something very serious. So let's read. The main thing, its main thing is laughing. So what type of movies all about laughing? It's, yes. So here we're talking about comedy. So a comedy is all about laughing. Okay. Let's now look at this. Look at the poster and try to guess. So what type of movie do you think it is? Yes. So here, this one, let's read about it. It involves the theme of death, supernatural or mental illness. So if we're talking about supernatural thing and death and the poster, so based on this, what do you think the type is? Yes, exactly. So this is called a horror film. Horror film. So look at the poster again and let's try to guess the type of film. We have this poster. So if we're looking at this poster, what do you think it is? So exactly, we're talking about animation. It gives the illusion of movement to a drawing. So it's all about drawings or inanimate objects, things that are objects, things that are not real. So this is we're talking about. If we're talking about the old style, it's cartoon, and the modern one is animation. So cartoon or animation is this one. So for cartoon or animation, we can have another type that goes with it. It can be cartoon and comedy. So it can have more than one type. Okay, look at the poster now. What do you think the type of the film is? So from the poster, we have fire and stuff. What do you think the type is? Here we have it's a race against the clock. You need to do something real quick because somebody is running after you or something is going to explode. Remember the type that we talked about? Yes, exactly. So this is called thriller. Thriller. وزي ما قلنا قبل كده, we can have more than one type, so it can be maybe it could be action and thriller, thriller and science fiction, so we can mix more than one type together in the same thing. So, look at the poster. It includes murder, robbery, chases, and double crosses. What do you think the type of this film is? Yes, exactly. So this is called a crime film. A crime film. Okay, let's look at our next poster. So Romeo and Juliet. The famous Romeo and Juliet story is, yeah. So let's read the description. It's about true love. So this is basically, yes, romantic. So it's a romantic film. Let's look at the next one. Okay, look at this poster and guess what's the type of the film. So from the poster, again, if we have bright colors, it might be comedy or it might be something light. It's not something too deep. Okay, let's read the description. The characters sing. The characters sing. So what do you think the type is if the characters sing? Yes, like we said, if the main thing is singing and dancing, it's called a musical. A musical. Okay, look at this poster. What do you think the type is? Look at the name. Yes, so it tries to document reality. So we're talking about reality without actors or actresses. So documentation of reality. Yes, from the word it's called documentary. Documentary. So this poster here is for a documentary. Look at this one. Star Trek, the famous Star Trek. So if we're talking about stars, what do you think it's going to be? Yes, let's read. It shows alien worlds and life outside Earth. So we're talking about other planets and stuff like that. What do we call it? Exactly. It is science fiction. So this type is called science fiction. Good job. Okay, look at this one. We have horses, guns, hats. What do you think the type is? So, yes, exactly. Let's read. It tells stories of the Wild West. So the Wild West, or we can call it the American West. Both words are the same, which is talking about the Western American life. So this is, yes, exactly, Western film, which is about cowboys mainly. So we call it Western. Okay, look at this poster and try to guess the type of film. We have people wearing army uniform and it's called Hearts War. So it's usually about naval or air or land battles, battles which is fights. So in this case it is exactly a war film, a war film. And as we said before, it can have more than one type. So it might be war and action, it might be war and thriller. So it might have more than one type. Okay, so Elizabeth, look at the poster, think what's the type of movie? Okay, what type of movie is this? Let's read. It's based upon historical events and famous people. We're talking about the history. Great leaders, famous people who existed back in the history. So we call this, yes, historical film. Historical film. Okay, بكده نبقى اتكلمنا على التايبس اوف فيلمز واتكلمنا على examples للكلام ده وشفنا البوسترز وعرفنا ازاي نعمل guessing من البوستر the type of film is. The second thing that we're going to speak about today is film rating system. What is the meaning of film rating system? لما بنيجي نتفرج على أي فيلم دلوقتي بنلاقي على الكورنر بتاع السكرين كده number either PG or maybe plus 18 or 16. So this film is rated. طيب هو الفيلم rating system ده إيه الهدف منه؟ The objective is to know this film is suitable for what type of audience. مين الأنسب أشخاص يتفرجوا على الفيلم ده. So that's why it's important when we watch films to know the film rating system and what can be suitable for us and what's not suitable for us. Let's look at the rating system and let's try to explain it together. So the first thing that we have in the rating system is something called G. So the G rating is the general audience, which means this film is suitable for anyone and anyone can watch it and understand the details that are inside the film. So it's easy to understand and it's suitable for all types of age. That's why we call it G. So general audience for everyone. Kids okay, adults okay, males, females, everyone can watch it, no problem. Okay, and then we have something called PG. PG is what we call it parental guidance. Parental guidance. What do we mean by parental guidance? Parental guidance means that my father and mother, parents, should be sitting with their kids when they are watching this film. Why? Because it might have some parts that need explanation. Like for example, when we speak about films that speak about other planets. So for kids it's going to be difficult. هيبقى صعب عليهم ان هم يفهموا الافكار اللي فيه. Like هو ليه في planets تانية وازاي في كواكب. فهم محتاجين parents يبقوا قاعدين معاهم عشان لو عندهم questions they can explain. So that's we call it parental guidance. So may not be suitable for children because they will not understand it on their own. And we have PG-13. PG-13 is parents strongly cautious, which means parents should be there and parents should watch it before the kids, just to make sure it's okay and they can watch it without having any questions. عشان يبقى الماتيريال بتاعت الفيلم parents يشوفوها الأول عشان يتأكدوا إن هو مفيش هيبقى فيه أسئلة أو فيها parts صعب إحنا مش ممكن نفهمها. So it's called PG-13. So this means parents should be there when I watch it, or parents should watch it before me. يبقى احنا دلوقتي لو هنتفرج على فيلم is called PG-13 هنسأل our parents, we're going to ask our parents to check it first. Maybe it has something difficult or it has something that is not suitable for me. مش suitable for me زي ايه؟ It might be violence. So it might have some violence like عنف وناس بيضربوا بعض. It's not suitable for kids. So that's why parents should watch first and think, is this suitable or not? It's called PG-13. And we have R. This is restricted for people under 17. So which we call it 18 plus. Under 17 no, more than 17 okay. So this is not okay for younger people because it might be, yes, it might have, like most of the horror movies, it might have scenes that are very scary, or it has a lot of blood or a lot of violence that is not suitable for younger people. And we have NC, no one under 17 is admitted. So NC plus 18 only. With your parent, without your parent, you will not watch it if you are under 17. So NC 17, this is not allowed at all, regardless with whom, you will not watch it if you are under 17. And the last thing is NR, which is no rating. We don't have rating for this. So which means that the movie makers did not give a rating for it. Like most of documentaries are NR. أغلب الدوكيومنتريز ما بيبقاش عليها rating لأن هو كل حد هيتفرج ويشوف الدوكيومنتري ده مناسب ليه أو لا. So by this we have talked about most of the important ratings that we can speak about. تعالوا دلوقتي نلعب game. So you're going to look at the poster and you're going to read a hint of the story and then guess what's the movie type and what kind of rating do you think it is. So look at the poster, from the poster guess the genre and the rating. Let's look at the first one. So this is the poster that we have for the first one. The girl who's carrying a sword. What do you think the rating would be? Okay, so the type of film is, yes, from the poster it's action. and the rating is R because we have lots of violence. في عنف كتير في الفيلم, and it's clear from the poster that people will be fighting and there will be blood and stuff like this. So that's why it's R. So we call it R-rated film. So this is an action R-rated film. Okay, let's look at this poster. From the poster, do you think this is R-rated film? No, it doesn't show any kind of violence. Good. Okay, so the type of film is a family film. We can call it drama, which is about our everyday life, and the rating is G. So this type of film is suitable for the general audience. Anybody can watch it and follow the story about sports and follow their life, so it will not be difficult for anyone. We call it a G-rated film, a family G-rated film. So this poster is for a family G-rated film. Okay, look at the picture. What kind of film is that? So from the poster, what do you think the type is? Yeah, so it's either, it might be musical, it might be romantic. What do you think the rating would be? Yes, so it's a romantic comedy, so it's romantic, and it has some funny parts, and the rating for most of romantic comedies are PG-13, which means it needs parental guidance, so your parents should watch it first. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, so look at the film here. What do you think it is? So the type from the poster, do you know this one? Yes, so it is a horror film. So if it's a horror film, what do you think the rating would be? Yes, so horror, thriller, and the rating is R-rated. So people who are under 17 should have their parents around, and it's not recommended for them. So it's an R-rated, horror or thriller, both would be fine. Okay, look at this poster. So what do you think? So light colors, bright colors. So if the poster has bright colors, it's not too deep or it's not something scary. So the type is romantic or romance. And as we said before, most of romantic films are PG-13. They need parental guidance. So it's a PG-13 romantic film. Okay, بكده نبقى اتكلمنا على أهم الريتنجز والريتنج سيستم and we talked about the types of movies وازاي ممكن أبص على البوستر بتاع الفيلم وأعرف أguess the type of the film and I can guess the audience or who is it suitable for. تعالوا نبدأ مع بعض الجرامر بارت وتعالوا نشوف ايه اللي هيساعدني أكتر إن أنا أتكلم على الفيلمز. الجرامر بارت بتاعنا النهاردة هو basically the past simple. احنا اتكلمنا على past simple قبل كده كذا مرة. So whenever we say a story of a film, أنا عندي حاجة اسمها narrative tenses. So the narrative tenses دول اللي بيساعدوني إن أنا أحكي story. The biggest challenge اللي ممكن بنفيس while we are telling a story of a film is which verb is going to help me most to give the description of the film. بيحصل confusion عندي في past simple ما بين 4 فيربات مهمين جدا which is was, wasn't, were, weren't, didn't. So these 6 verbs, or we call them verb to be and did, the difference between them is really confusing. طيب هو ليه really confusing؟ لأن كلهم past simple بس we don't use them all at the same time and we don't use them to replace each other. تعالوا مع بعض نشوف امتى بستخدم was وامتى بستخدم did. Okay, one of the very important things that we need to use is the differences between was and did. احنا الحاجة اللي بتبقى challenging جدا بالنسبة لنا هو was ولا did. Especially لما باجي أعمل negative أو باجي أعمل question. So when we speak about the past, we have 2 verbs that can help me speak about negative or question in the past. We have was and we have did. was ده represent كل verb to be يعني was أو were. both of them are the same. و did اللي هي did. هستخدمهم بقى positive هستخدمهم negative على حسب الكونتكست أو السياق بتاعي، مش هتفرق كتير. طيب الكويستشن هنا لما أنا هاجي أعمل question أو هاجي أعمل negative statement, when do I use was and when do I use did? Which one do I use? Because it's really confusing. First of all, let's clarify and let's highlight one important rule. If we're talking about the normal regular sentence, you will never see did في normal sentence as a helping verb. But you will see was and were. So في السنتنس الطبيعية no did. زي ايه؟ زي ما بقول I saw a film. دي sentence طبيعية جدا. هل السنتنس بتاعتي دي فيها did؟ لا ما فيهاش، لأن did هو helping verb بيجي في النيجاتيف أو الquestion. يبقى في السنتنس الطبيعية مفيش did خالص. بس في السنتنس الطبيعية ممكن استخدم was وممكن استخدم were. ازاي؟ was and were هما friends كده لحاجات تانية. يعني ايه؟ يعني انا السنتنس بتاعتي لو انا هتكلم على adjective، لو عايزة describe الفيلم اللي انا كنت بتكلم معاه او بتكلم عليه sorry، I saw a film، عايزة اوصفه، ف I can say it وعايزة اقول good. ده الديسكريبشن بتاع الفيلم بتاعي. يبقى انا عايزه اقول ان هو good. ايه السوتابل فيرب اللي هيجي مع الادجكتيف ده؟ So can I say it play good? It doesn't work. انا I need verb. ما ينفعش عندي sentence. I can't have an English sentence without a verb. So we have something called was and were. So was and were is a connecting verb. هو الverb في نفسه بيconnect this with this. So the verb that helps adjectives and nouns. So if I am talking about any adjective, I can say it was good. يبقى أنا هنا was and were هيظهروا عندي في السنتنس عادي كأي verb طبيعي عادي، زي كلمة saw. So I saw it was. ده verb وده verb. ده verb main verb وده verb main verb. يبقى هنا ده وده عادي جدا، يبقى was and were هشوفهم عادي في السنتنس، بس did مش هشوفها في السنتنس. طيب did أنا هبدأ أشوفها إمتى؟ هبدأ أشوفها في النيجاتيف. did is helping another verb when I create negative. يعني أنا لما باجي أعمل نيجاتيف did دي بتهلب verb تاني. يعني did لما هاجي أحطها في السنتنس it will come with another verb because it helps the verb. هي helping verb. So did comes with another verb. Did does not come alone in the sentence. زي لما هاجي أعمل دي negative. So I will say I did not see a film. So in this sentence بما إن هي negative, what happens is that I have a verb here and I have did with another verb. يبقى أنا لو عندي main verb في السنتنس لما هاجي هعمله negative، لو عندي أي verb with meaning، أي verb action verb when I put it in negative بستخدم معاه did. طيب what about verb to be? Verb to be ده special case. Was and were are special. They don't help and they don't need help. هم مش بيتحطوا في sentence كhelping verb مع simple past، ومش بيحتاجوا help من أي verb تاني مع simple past. يعني إيه؟ يعني أنا الستيتمنت دي لو هاجي أعملها negative، اللي هيحصل هنا إن أنا هقول it wasn't good. يبقى verb to be كل ما هاجي هحطه في الستيتمنت هو على طول لوحده. verb to be مش بيجي مع أي verb تاني، لا في السنتنس جه مع verb، ولا في النيجاتيف جه مع verb، ولا في الكويستشن هيجي مع verb تاني. verb to be على طول لوحده في السنتنس ومعهوش أي حاجة تانية. خلينا نلوك على الستيتمنت بتاعتنا. in this statement one verb only. it doesn't help, it doesn't need help. so معهاش أي verb تاني ولوحدها. but here we have did with another verb. يبقى أنا لو عندي أي verb هاجي أعمله في past I'm going to use did في negative أو في question. ما عدا verb to be على طول هيبقى لوحده. verb to be it doesn't need any other verb. فأنا كده في sentence ما ينفعش أقول I was see. it doesn't work because was comes alone with adjectives, jobs, numbers, nouns. so was like last year I was in Alex. It comes with prepositions and places, but it comes alone. My father was a doctor. Now he doesn't work. So we're talking about a job in the past. But the main thing we're talking about it alone. But for this, I didn't go. I didn't help. So did وgo بيجوا مع بعض. Did و help. So did comes with another verb in any question or any negative. Was and were always alone, and they come with adjectives, they come with nouns, they come with numbers, places, and things like that. So بكده نبقى بصينا على أهم اليوسج بتاع was وأهم اليوسج بتاع did. يعني أنا لما هاجي أقول story بتاعت فيلم I need to give description. I'm going to use was or were, wasn't or weren't. I need to give negative for anything. So I have main verb. I have a verb with a meaning. So in this case, did. So he didn't go, he didn't fight. بكده نبقى اتكلمنا على was and did and the difference between verb to be and did in the question and negative. تعالوا نعمل شوية practice على الكلام ده. Like we have seen, we have verb to be and we have did that we can use them differently when we speak about the past. تعالوا مع بعض نعمل practice سريع على ده ونشوف أنا هعرف أختار الاختيار الصح ولا لأ. Let's look at the statements that we have and see, are we going to use was, wasn't, were, and weren't? So are we going to use verb to be, whether in positive or negative, or we're going to use did and didn't? So let's look at the first sentence. You study yesterday. So here we have a question. So in this question that we have here, we have a main verb which is study. طيب احنا متفقين ان verb to be is always alone in the question, always alone in the sentence, always alone without any other thing. And if we have another verb, we're going to use yes. So in this case, the answer would be did you study yesterday? Did you study yesterday? عشان هنا أنا عندي the verb study, so it needs help. وطالما help يبقى did. Okay. No, so if it's negative, no, I. Yes, exactly. No, I didn't, because it's answering the same question. They 20 on their last birthday. They 20 on their last birthday. تعالوا نبص ونشوف هنستخدم did or was or verb to be. طيب they احنا هنستخدم did لو عندي a verb, so did can help it. تعالوا نبص هنا في أي هنا verb. They مش verb. 20 not a verb. On no. Their last birthday كلها nouns. So in this case, if we're talking about nouns only and we don't have another verb, so we use yes, verb to be. طيب which verb to be can we use with they? Exactly. So they were 20 last year. They were 20 last year. يبقى بكده أنا عندي محتاجة أبص على الستيتمنت بتاعتي وأفكر هل أنا عندي verb تاني, so in this case did, or I don't have another verb, it's alone, so in this case it's going to be verb to be. Based على اللي احنا اتكلمنا عنه قبل كده هستخدم was or were based على السبجكت بتاعي, واحنا عارفين السبجكتس مين بياخد ايه. Okay, let's now start and look at our reading and how to write a film review. Okay, so first of all, when we speak about film review, a film review is giving my own opinion about a film that I have watched. So here, let's look at this. We have Omar and Salma. So did you hear of this film before? we're going to read a review about Omar and Salma. Let's read the review and let's see the opinion. So read the review and tell me, according to the writer, is it a good film or a bad film? Let's start together. Omar and Salma is a wonderful comedy romantic film. يبقى هو type واحد ولا mix? It's a mix. It's a romantic comedy. It was made in Egypt in 2008 and it was brilliantly acted by May Azz el-Din and Tamer Hosni in the leading roles. The story of the film is really touching. It is a simple tale about a young man, Omar, who falls in love with the beautiful Salma. After a series of misunderstanding events, they get married and promise to live happily ever after. So the expression of happily ever after is usually connected to romantic films. But are they going to? Humor sparkled through the film. However, there are some parts that will make you shed a tear. Okay, the director was so successful in choosing great special effects, as well as beautiful music, strong plot, and endearing actors. It's #1 in my list. So don't miss seeing this film. ده كده على بعضه الفيلم ريفيو. تعالوا نبص مع بعض الفيلم ريفيو متقسم لكام باراجراف. We have paragraph number 1, we have paragraph number 2, and we have the third paragraph. يبقى أنا لو قررت إن أنا أكتب فيلم ريفيو محتاجة على الأقل 3 different paragraphs لو أنا هكتب فيلم ريفيو زي ده. فيلم ريفيو دي اللي هي مراجعة الأفلام. يعني أنا لو هكتب رأيي وأتكلم على فيلم, so if I'm going to write it, I need 3 different paragraphs. قبل ما نبص على الباراجرافز بالتفصيل تعالوا نشوف ايه الفوكابيلاري المهم اللي ممكن استخدمه في ريفيو. So let's look at the most important vocabulary. So the first thing is touching. Touching is making you feel pity or sympathy. لما حاجة بتلمس مشاعري I say it's touching. So I can say the story is touching. I can say the acting is touching. So when something or when the events touch your feelings, we call it touching. And we have a tale. A tale is usually a story which is not real. Like when we speak about Cinderella and Snow White, these are all tales. So tales are not real stories. And we also have shed a tear. Shed a tear is the same like cry, but in a more formal way. يعني احنا هنتكلم بشكل رسمي أو formal. وباسically لما بنيجي نكتب بيبقى الكتابة بتاعتنا formal. So we're not going to say this film will make you cry, because make you cry is more spoken. بس لما هاجي أتكلم على نفس كلمة make you cry in a written form, in a more formal way, we can say shed a tear. Shed a tear, same like cry. And we also have endearing. Endearing, which means making someone like it so much. Endearing, like very attractive. We can say endearing character or endearing actor or actress. Like when we speak about May Azz el-Din in the film Omar and Salma, she's endearing. So she's very attractive and she can make everybody love her. And we have brilliantly. Brilliantly, when we see something that is done in a very, very good way, we can say it's brilliant or it's brilliantly done. Like when we speak about the director, الدايركتور اللي هو المخرج. So when we speak about the director and we say he brilliantly directed the movie. So he did it in a very, very good way. So when we have somebody who's clever, we say he's brilliant. And when he does something that is clever, it's brilliantly done. And director, as we said, المخرج, or the person who directs the movie or who directs the film. And then we have humor. Humor is whatever you have which is funny, anything that makes you laugh. So it seems like funny, but in a more formal way again, because we're talking about writing, so we're going to use humor. And we have sparkled. Sparkled, which is bright, when something is really bright or it has lots of clear things. And the last thing is the plot. The plot is the main story or the sequence of the events. تتابع الأحداث. So this is the plot. دي الكلمات المهمة اللي ممكن نستخدمها لما نيجي نعمل الفيلم ريفيو. So by this, as we said, إن إحنا عندنا mainly we're talking about 3 different paragraphs. ودي الكلمات المهمة اللي ممكن نتكلم عنها. تعالوا نشوف بقى الباراجرافز بتاعتنا إيه ممكن يكون الكونتنت بتاعها. So the first paragraph ممكن نحط فيه the name of the film, the type of the film, the place and the year, اتعمل امتى, والactors, the names and the characters. كل ده ممكن included في first paragraph. And we have the second paragraph, the main story of the film. And in the third paragraph, this is your personal opinion. يبقى احنا بنقفل الريفيو بتاعنا بالpersonal opinion وممكن ندي recommendation للناس ان هم يشوفوه او ما يشوفوهوش based على الopinion بتاعي. بكده نبقى النهارده اتكلمنا على اهم الحاجات المرتبطه بالموفي and بالفيلمز and how we can describe them, how we can describe the story, and we also read a film review and we saw how we can write a film review like it. And we have looked at the most important words that we can use when we write a film review. بكده نبقى وصلنا لنهاية حلقتنا النهارده. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.